Have you ever met someone who seemed almost too good to be true? They say all the right things, use all the latest buzzwords about mental health and personal growth, and seem incredibly self-aware. That's how Alex was when I first met him. He was charming, attentive, and spoke fluently in the language of therapy. He talked about his own healing journey, his boundaries, his attachment style, and how he was committed to radical honesty. I thought I'd finally found a partner who was emotionally intelligent. I was wrong. I had just met a new, more insidious kind of manipulator, the therapy-speak narcissist. At first, it was incredible. Alex would say things like, "I need to hold space for my feelings right now," or "I'm setting a boundary because your request doesn't align with my capacity." It sounded so healthy, so evolved. If I ever felt upset, he'd gently tell me, "I hear that you're feeling hurt, but I can't be responsible for your emotional reaction." That's something for you to explore. He had a way of turning every conflict, every concern I had, back on me, but he did it with such calm, therapeutic language that I'd end up apologizing for my own feelings. I started to believe that I was the problem. Maybe I was too sensitive, too demanding, or not far enough along in my own healing journey. He used the concept of boundaries like a weapon. Instead of being a way to foster mutual respect, his boundaries were walls he'd throw up anytime he wanted to avoid accountability. One time, he completely forgot about a special dinner I'd planned for us. When I brought it up feeling hurt, he said, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I was honoring my need for unstructured time." It's important for me to protect my peace. He wasn't protecting his peace. He was just being selfish and avoiding any responsibility for his actions. But because he framed it in this pseudo-therapeutic way, I was the one left feeling guilty for being upset. Another one of his favorites was projecting. Anytime I pointed out a behavior of his that was hurtful, he'd calmly reply, "It sounds like you're projecting your own insecurities onto me. Perhaps this is triggering something from your past that you need to work through." It was maddening. He was a master at psychological judo, using my own desire to be a good, self-aware partner against me. He was gaslighting me, but with a PhD in pop psychology. He never raised his voice. He never called me names. He just calmly and rationally explained why my feelings were invalid, my perceptions were wrong, and my needs were unreasonable. The therapy speak was a smokescreen for his covert narcissism. Covert narcissists aren't like the loud, grandiose ones we often see in movies. They are subtle. They present themselves as victims, as sensitive souls who have been deeply wounded by the world. Alex would often talk about his past traumas, which made me feel immense sympathy for him. I wanted to be the one to love him correctly, to heal him, but this vulnerability was a trap. It made me hesitant to ever criticize him because I didn't want to trigger him or add to his pain. He had effectively made himself immune to any form of criticism. The turning point came when I was talking to a close friend. I was explaining yet another situation where Alex had used his boundaries to get out of supporting me through a difficult time. I found myself defending him, using his own therapeutic language. "Well, he needs to protect his energy, you know? I can't expect him to be my everything." My friend just looked at me and said, "Emma, a partner is supposed to be there for you." It sounds like he is using these terms to be a bad boyfriend and get away with it. It was like a light switch flipped in my brain. She was right. Healthy communication isn't a one-way street where one person dictates the terms. A real partnership involves compromise, empathy, and mutual support, not just one person honoring their needs at the expense of the other. I started to see the pattern everywhere. His radical honesty was just an excuse to say cruel things without filter. "I'm just being honest," he'd say, after making a cutting remark about my appearance or my career. "I don't believe in sugarcoating things, but honesty without kindness is just cruelty." His need for space always conveniently appeared when I needed him most. His self-awareness was a performance, a script he had memorized to control the narrative and always come out looking like the enlightened, evolved one, while I was the emotionally messy one who just didn't get it. Leaving was one of the hardest things I've ever done. He didn't fight or yell. He just expressed his disappointment that I wasn't willing to do the work. He said he wished me well on my healing journey and that he hoped I would one day find peace with my triggers. Even in the end, he had to have the final word, positioning himself as the wise guru and me as the broken student who had failed the course. It took months of real therapy with a qualified professional to undo the damage, to untangle his manipulative language from the genuine concepts of mental health. I had to learn that true emotional intelligence involves empathy for others, not just an obsession with one's own feelings. I'm sharing my story because this is a new and dangerous form of manipulation. The language of therapy and wellness is becoming more mainstream, which is a wonderful thing. But it's also being co-opted by narcissists like Alex to refine their tactics. They found the perfect camouflage. They can make you feel crazy, irrational, and emotionally unstable, all while sounding like a self-help guru. So be careful. Pay attention to actions, not just words. Does their behavior match their enlightened vocabulary? Do they use these concepts to connect with you or to control you? A healthy person uses these tools to build bridges. A narcissist uses them to build walls and cages. Your feelings are valid, your needs are important, and a partner who truly cares will never use the language of healing to hurt you. Thank you for listening, and please take care of yourselves out there. Follow for more stories and insights on navigating modern relationships.